Prior to travel, I was a little leery about traveling. I guess scared more than everything because I had gotten into a safe mentality in my own house where I did my own dialysis, and I was almost afraid to go back to having somebody else give me needles and stuff.
No, I didn't think it would be that scary. I mean, I'm used to doing my own treatments. I'm familiar with the process, so I wasn't too concerned about it. I think the main thing was I just want to make sure I found someone reputable that was listed, that I could maybe look into references on or reviews on. The Global Dialysis website was really helpful because it had accredited type facilities that they list there, and I think if they had problems with these facilities they wouldn't list them, so it was helpful as a starting point to at least narrow down to someone reputable.
So once I decided to do travel, I decided that I was going to go out to Calgary to visit my sister, and I think a lot had to do with the fact that because I had family there, it was a bit more of a security blanket, and so that's why I went.
We've done a lot of traveling. We've traveled by car, we've traveled by air, we've traveled by ship, and we've taken supplies on all of those vacations and never had issues with it. It's just a matter of planning. Just
made arrangements over the phone. I got the hospital's name from the social worker, and I gave them a call and told them when I was coming and what days I wanted, and they said yes, no problem. At this time those times are opened. One of the things is, if you are going to travel, the more lead time you can give the facility, the better, because especially if it's a popular spot such as Calgary where the stampede is occurring, they fill up very quickly.
I mean, first of all, I looked into different facilities that I could go to, checked in with them to make sure there was availability at the time I wanted to travel. You kind of have to coordinate your travel arrangements with your dialysis arrangements to make sure that you can line them up and get them both at the same time. Once you kind of get that worked out, at least on a provisional type basis, that you have it penciled in, at least that you have a spot, then make sure that the professionals at the other end and at the travel destination are requesting the right information, are working with your healthcare team to get the information they require, your history of treatments, your dialysis prescription, all those sorts of things, and make sure that they are asking for the right information, make sure they get the right information, so that when you get there, there's no surprises, nothing that's going to stop them from giving you treatment. But again, and then I think the big thing is to confirm back prior to traveling that you have your dates lined up, your times lined up, they have all the information they need, there's not going to be any surprises. Also, I worked with the home hemo team to create a checklist of things that I needed to take with me to make sure that I had everything I needed when I was there, and that if we ran into any problems or treatment issues, that I was covered and I had options. Things like that. And then they also give advice like making sure that you find out if they reuse dialyzers and things like that. Because if they do, you can always take your own.
Okay, when I plan to go away, you give Baxter a phone call probably 4 to 6 weeks ahead of time, just to give them enough time to do the planning for your order. And if you're traveling to the States, they have their own offices in the States, and everything will be delivered right to whatever address. The same applies for Canada. Everything is at the location. I've traveled many times, and I've never had a problem with my supplies being delivered to wherever it is that I need them.
The experience was very positive. Being in Canada, I know their standards would be the same as Winnipeg's standards for dialysis, or very close.
It's good. I've traveled a couple times, once to Mexico, to Puerto Vallarta, did 3 treatments there in the week. And you go in there kind of concerned because you're not sure what the facility will be like, but you get there, it's very clean, they're very professional, they do a good job.
When we travel, we always take the cycler machine with us. On occasion, there's been situations where it has not worked, and we just simply call Baxter and we will have a new cycler within 24 hours. So of course when we travel, we always bring twin bags in the event that the cycler does not work. So it's just making sure that you have the twin bags as well, and then it's not an issue.
From my point of view, I wanted to stay in Canada for my first one because, as I said, I knew what the standards were. Pretty well, as I said earlier, give them as much notice as possible. Now that I've done my first one, I'm looking at further travel back to Halifax to visit people, and even eventually down into the States to visit some relatives that live down there.
I just think that you're tied down enough by dialysis being, you can't get too far from home too often, so I don't think needing dialysis is a reason not to travel. I think it's because you have the ability to travel and there are options, you should try to take those if you're able to. It at least gives you the ability to get away, do something, gives your family ability to get away, because sometimes they're along for the ride and can't travel because of your situation. So at least that gives your family the chance to travel. The other thing is, make sure you do your research up front. Make sure you are aware of what's happening. Don't just rely on your medical team. Don't just rely on the destination provider to do everything. Make sure you're aware of what's happening. Make sure you're double checking. Make sure you're making your own lists and checklists and are comfortable in doing research. And it's your own health that's at risk and your own situation. So make sure you're comfortable before you go. But all in all, it's a good experience, and it gives you a chance to continue to travel.
For people that haven't traveled, try it. It's not that difficult. It's not as scary as what you might make it out to be. It's quite easy to get your supplies to where you need them. The biggest thing is making sure that you know what you need in terms of your bags, your lines, your cassettes, making sure that you have the twin bags in the event that you have an emergency. So even though you might not use them, it's always a good idea to have them there. It's not something to be afraid of. It's quite easy. It's actually just as easy as staying at home.